And so, yeah, so like Wednesday night prayer meeting, just a jiving, bluesy, like almost like rocking track opener, and just filled with great tracks like Crime Blues. I really love Moaning, and the album closer Ease flat 2, and just with Charles Mingus records, especially his better and well-known records like Black Singer Lady, you always know you're in for a really interesting listen. And I'd heard the only song I was familiar with was Wednesday Night Prayer Meeting, but because I've checked out some of his records and like sampled some tracks before, but never heard the full record, and it's really, really, really great. It's probably my second favorite Mingus album that I own, and I like this more than Black Singer Lady. Excuse me. And I wouldn't say that it's a better record. I would just say that it's close. So I would say like Black Singer Lady is better, but not like leaps and bounds better. But it's a little too crazy and chaotic. It's amazing, like especially the first time you listen to it, and it doesn't really fade every subsequent listen to Black Singer Lady, but it's so chaotic and stuff that it's not as enjoyable as a record like this. So that's why this one is one of my favorites. So that's the first major one. Well, this video is going to be long. I hope it uploads. If not, I'm going to have to cut it somewhere. Next up, Steamin' with the Miles Davis Quintet. Man, I don't know, like, for those other Canadians out there, I know like the Secco Funk and Anders in Stockholm find stuff like this like fairly regularly, but for the other Canadian folk in this community, you know that you never see this stuff. And look at that jacket. I'm just trying to show how glossy and stuff the finish is. Same with the Blues and Fruits. Like the jacket's in great shape. This one has about an inch seam split on the top, but nothing too bad. And like even the bottom is like there's barely, there's like no wear. And this is an American pressing on the Prestige. I forget what the name of this label or what people refer to this particular label as, but this is the South Washington Avenue, Birkenfield, New Jersey pressing. So amazing to have that. And this is, as far as I'm concerned, I've listened to I think almost everything that Miles has done on Prestige, like Working, Relaxing, Steaming, and collector's items and stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, this is in the top 2 or 3 for sure albums that he did. So this one had the most issues with it. Couple deeper scratches on it. It's in fairly good condition, but mostly like just some surface scratches. But in some tracks there's a little deeper, and one track has like some one like squiggle like scratch all over it. So when that song plays, that's on Well You Needn't, has a lot more pops, but still very nice to have, just to find an original. And I'll get to the price that I paid for them in a minute. And then last up, he had some other jazz stuff, but then there were like, I think he showed me 5 records, and the rest were just some like mediocre regular jazz, and then these records. So Milestones, one record that I've wanted for a really long time. This is original 6i. This plays flawless. Again, like with the other records, just a couple minor surface scratches, but not even a pop when you put it on the record player. And so yeah, I like the American 6i is just so much nicer than the Canadian one. I mean, not that that's an ugly looking label, but the red, black, and white on the American is a lot nicer. I'm glad that Canada switched and they went to the same thing subsequent, after changing to the 2i label. Milestones, Miles Davis. Right, the album right before Kinda Blue came out, Miles is just starting to experiment with modal jazz, and so the only modal jazz track that he has on is his Milestones. But what an amazing song! Definitely one of my favorite. I gotta say one of the best Miles Davis songs that I've ever heard. But the rest of this album is solid. Like, it's maybe not some of the most exciting stuff, but really solid. I mean, when you have that lineup, you guys can see, you're not gonna have, it's impossible to produce a bad record. And he did like a nice cover version of Straight Note Chaser. I think most of the other tracks are covers. So that was a great find. And on top of that, they're having a 3x3 get one, the 4th one free. So after that, I found out about that, I proceeded to look in the further back through their sections, and probably the only impulse in the store is Americans in Europe Volume 2. Good record. I was a little skeptical. This was actually in the recent Jazz Arrivals, and I was a little skeptical because I didn't look at it heavily enough, but I thought it might be, I mean, there's some players that I really like on here. Bud Powell, amazing piano player, and I mean, I heard of, obviously, Champion, Jack Dupree, Don Bias, Albert Nicholas stuff, and some of the players I wasn't familiar with, and so I didn't know if it would be that good of a record. But since picking it up, I'm really glad that I did, because it is a really strong record. There's even 2 nice jazz tracks with vocals. The Jack Dupree track, Wine, Whiskey, and Gin Head Woman, and then Curtis Jones does one. And then side 2 is completely by the Don Bias Quintet, and that's a strong side. I like that album artwork too. Going back to my story, so he shows me these records, and then first thing I do is separate the 3 amazing ones, and then put the other 2 jazz records to the side. I'm looking at condition and stuff, and then holding in my excitement, because I don't want this guy to just jack the price through the roof. And so I was scared to ask, but asked him, "What do you think you want for these?" And he said, "I'm not sure." He's like, "I'll have to take a look." I'm like, "Well, they're a little scratched up and not in the best condition." I mean, I could see there were surface crosses, but I hadn't played them at this point, so I didn't know how they would sound. and they were dirty. On my way home, I stopped at a record store near me and just asked them to give it a clean, and they did it for free. That's a great thing about like some local stores and stuff. And some of them have told me that if I come in with a couple records, they'll just clean them free of charge. So that was nice. Getting off topic again on a tangent, and going back to the original story that I was telling. So he's like, okay, well, $10, I think, per record. I was like, I can do that. And he said $10, I think. And then I don't think he was like familiar at all with Charles Mingus, because then he came over and kind of like looked at the Blues and Roots and went back to his computer and then typing away on eBay. And then and thankfully, I don't think there were any postings of Blues and Roots at the time. Because I went and checked myself when I got home to see and postings, and I think there might have been like one copy original on eBay, or not even that. But when he was like looking through, he's like, well, the reissue's going for $30, so, and I think maybe a little more. And then I'm like, well, I'll get all three, so how about if I get all three, $30? And he's like, oh yeah, I guess. Or he's like, how about 35? And I'm like, oh, whatever. And like, I mean, I don't. It's not every week that I even like spend $35 buying records and stuff, but this was totally worth it. And so and I was getting the they're having a buy 3 regular price, get the 4th free sale, so that definitely made it worthwhile. And I'm never gonna find this again, or maybe I will, but it won't be a long time. And this is actually phenomenal condition. And I asked him like, oh, does this guy have anything else? And he's like, no, just those 3. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to check this store for regularly for the next couple of weeks, just to make sure the guy doesn't drop off anything else this exciting. I've rambled on. I applaud you guys if you're able to watch this video to the end. It'll probably be split up into 2 parts. Like, there's no way that I think YouTube's gonna let me post a 30-minute video, but some very solid stuff. Hope you guys have enjoyed. And speaking of the this Impulse video, I'm probably gonna be posting another Impulse, my Impulse collection tonight as well. I've wanted to do a video on that for a while, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.